Hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee cup is a repeat mug. It is my old St. Nicholas mug that I think my husband gave to me. Not positive. It is old enough that where I got it from is sort of out of the mind. It could have been from his mother. She gave me a lot of Christmas mugs. Anyway, today's tea is the Stash Tease chocolate mint oolong. It's a way to get my chocolate and my mint without having to mix my Moroccan mint with one of my other chocolates, though I still do that occasionally. And it is a tea that I actually really enjoy. So let's give this a taste and we'll get started. The nice thing about this tea is that there's just enough chocolate and just enough mint. Neither one overpowers the other. It's got that refreshing, the mint has that refreshingness in the back end of it. That's delicious. So I'm sure you've noticed we have quite a bit more noise going on in the background right now. My husband is doing domestic things and making dinner, and I'm right next to the kitchen. So we're going to be hearing a little bit of that going on. Earlier in another video, he apologized for not having smell-o-vision for you guys because he is an amazing cook and we just love his food. So all that noise is just him in the background. Hopefully it won't bother you too much. Today is a part 2. We are talking about my 2018 favorites, loves for, this past year. The first one I did was on my skincare and hair care. And today we're actually going to get into makeup. I have a number of things in front of me from palettes and other stuff. And I have some honorable mentions as well in my little pile. And the reason they're honorable mentions is because I really, really like them. I just don't use them as much as I thought I would. But I still want to keep them and still want to use them more. Hopefully they'll come up more in next year as I'm trying to work on my reverse rouge challenge. But let's go ahead and get started, and let's start with something, the base of our skin, and that is primer. I've been really enjoying this e.l.f. Aqua Primer Mist. My only complaint about it is that it goes so much faster than regular primer for me. I've had my NYX primers for a year, whereas this is my second one of this for this year. These are about $8 a piece. It is light and refreshing. It really helped in the summer when I was having problems under my eyes, and using a brush or fingers or whatever to rub that area only aggravated it. And this was actually a really, really good way to avoid that, and I've really enjoyed using it since as well. So something I recommend. I don't buy too much e.l.f. stuff. I've had enough e.l.f. things that haven't worked out for me that I'm sometimes a little leery of their things. But this one I do recommend if you like a spray-on primer that has, hydration in it. So this is a really good one. Next, we will talk about the RCMA No Color Powder. I only use this in one place, and that's on my eyes to set my concealer before I put on my eyeshadow. This is really cheap. It's a really cheap powder, and that's one of the reasons I really like it. So I've had this for most of the year. I've barely used any of it because it just goes on my eyes. It sets my concealer just fine. This particular jar cost me $3. It's going to last me a lifetime. However, because it is a white powder, I know it says no color, but it is a white powder. I don't use it on my face. I just don't want to deal with any possible flashback or anything like that. But it is a good powder to set concealer on or under your eyes for, and a good price, really good price. So recommend it mostly for the price. Next, we will go into foundations. As you all know, I stopped using Tarte. Tarte was my favorite foundation. I have found a new foundation finally, and that is the CoverGirl TruBlend. This is an L6. I'm actually thinking about getting L6 and L7 next time and mixing them. I think this is just a touch light, but this works really well on my face. It isn't powder fussy. It doesn't seem to be primer fussy. It gives me a really nice finish. It gives me decent coverage. It's buildable. It does not get cakey or have any issues when you try to build it up. It does cover a lot of my problems but you can probably still see my little dot down there. So it's more on medium, lighter medium. Since I mix it with my BeYu Mineral 89 moisturizer, it tends to be a little lighter on the coverage. One of the things that I just did today, and that I'm going to try out a little bit more, is I actually ended up mixing this with the CoverGirl TruBlend Matte Made, which is a little darker. This is my summer shade. I can't really use this by itself, but I did combine them today, and I really, really do like the look of it. It is not cakey. It's not dry. The finish is really beautiful. I think the color match is really, really nice. So I may hold off on the L7 and just use this for a while, because I do have to replace this soon. But I do highly recommend this if you're not looking for full coverage. It's got a really nice natural finish, I think, and I really enjoy it. So I was really happy to find this. Another foundation that I actually like is a powder foundation. I use powders in the summer because in the summer my skin gets much oilier, and while I haven't tried too much of the matte liquid foundations, I'm going to try them next year when hopefully I won't have the issues under my eyes that I had this year. But normally I would use a powder, and this year I got the Ocean Mist Mineral Foundation. I actually have two colors of this. I have the Mink, which is my deeper color for summer, for midsummer, and Buff, which is actually a good transition color from summer to fall and winter. This has, it's obviously not going to build up too far. It's on the lighter end of medium when you build it up. It has a good finish. It has, it doesn't get cakey. It doesn't look dry. It doesn't look powdery on your skin. So it is a very nice powder foundation. They come in with the twisty things. I don't know what to call them. But they come in with the, you can get it with the, with this thing in there. And this cost, I want to say 16, but it might have been higher than that. But once you have these, you just need to buy the refill bags for them, and those are a lot cheaper. I think they're like $5 to $10 for a refill bag. Something like that. I'd have to look it up. It might be 12. But if you're looking for a powder foundation, if you like the lighter coverage of a powder foundation, or if you just want something that'll even out your skin tone without too much coverage, Ocean Mist is a good way to go. Also from Ocean Mist that I've really enjoyed using has been their powder concealers. I was really, really surprised. Like the foundation, you can get it in a container like this. It'll have a sifter inside. That's what it's called, a sifter. It'll have a sifter inside, and then later you can get refill baggies. And so you'll spend more for the initial packaging, but less on your refills. I was really surprised because they aren't like full coverage, like say, I've never used it, but say maybe the Shape Tape or something like that. But they are decent coverage, and they do help hide my under eye shadows. I actually have started using these instead of most liquid concealers for even over my liquid foundations, because it actually does a really decent job of doing the cover up, and it does a decent job of highlighting it. I have used it on my eyes and my nose today. I've used it here, in here, a bit on my chin. So I use it like a regular liquid concealer. It's just it's a powder, and I actually really enjoy it. And one of the things that I really like about these particular powder concealers is they do not end up looking dry and flaky or accenting the texture I have under my eyes, which is really surprising because it's a powder. You would think that the powder would get in there and you would see a lot more of that texture, but I've not had that problem with these at all. So again, really recommend Ocean Mist for if you want to try a powder foundation or a powder concealer. I really recommend them to try. And you can get these little small sample sizes. I think they're about $3 a piece, and you can test out. They have a huge range of shades for the foundation. Not so many on the concealer, unfortunately, but you know, they have this light, this is a medium, and I believe they have one darker. So, but the foundation range is really pretty good, especially for a powder foundation. So yeah, if you really want to try something like this, you can get the samples for $3, and then when you buy the full size, you can get it with a sifter, and once you've bought it, you just use the refill baggies, which are much cheaper, which is really nice because you generally can't do that with a liquid foundation. With a liquid foundation, you have to go and buy all the packaging all over again. Also in concealers, I just started using this CoverGirl Clean Invisible Concealer. This one is in light. I don't use it directly under my eyes too much. I think they have another one above this that's fair. But as you can see, I can use this. What I use it for, because I put on my eyeshadow and I tend to be very messy, I use it to clean up right in here and get a straighter line in here before I put anything in. And sometimes it'll go down in here. This is a really nice concealer. I found that it is really good coverage. Like today I had a lot of, whoa, steamy food. Food is cooking. Sizzle is good news. Yum. Anyway, I had a lot of glitter fallout from today's look, and this just covered that all up, as well as giving me my nice lines that I like. It's very light. It's easy to blend out. I use a brush to blend it out. I use my Royal & Langnickel BMD 120 to blend it out. But it also blends out fairly easily with the sponge. So nice drugstore priced concealer that I think is really good. My only concern with this one, much like the Ocean Mist or most concealers, to be honest with you, is that there's a limited shade range. I do believe there's a fair, a medium, and maybe a dark, but I'm not positive about that. You'd have to look on the site. Seems to be pretty standard for concealers. Shape Tape and ColourPop are unusual in the fact that they have like 15 million shades of concealer. Yes, the other one is Makeup Revolution too. They have 15 million shades of concealer. But this is a good price, and you don't have to pay shipping on it. So the hardest problem I've had with this is finding all the shades in my stores. I usually only see one or two rather than the whole range. But other than that, I think it's a really good concealer, and I highly recommend it. I have 3 mascaras that I ended up really falling in love with this year. And one of them actually may be from last year, but I'm not positive about that. And that one is the Urban Decay Perversion. This was the first one to become my favorite mascara. I'm not going to open this one up. This one is brand new. I had one that disappeared. I repurchased this, and I'm not opening this up because I have a dozen different mascaras open. I want to get through some of them before I open this. But it's Perversion. It's black. It is... it lengthens, it thickens, there's not a lot of clumping. I've had no issues with it. It gives me my long eyelashes that I really like without any help. I normally, for a lot of my mascaras, I have to help them with the Great Lash as a base. I guess this gives them a sticky base to hold on to. But I only need like 2 coats of this to get big, long, beautiful lashes. So this is like the very first one that I ever loved this year, and highly recommend it. And the other thing I like about this is like the It Cosmetics. So you're going to spend, what, $20 on something like this, and it's huge, and you're expected to use this up within 3 months. That's not going to happen to me, especially since my subscription boxes keep giving me mascaras. So if you were to purchase this individually for that $20 to $25, whatever it is, you'd end up having to throw some of the product away. And that's a waste of money, and I hate that. Whereas with the Urban Decay, they have the mini for $11. And while per ounce, that's probably not as good a deal as getting the full size, for being able to use up more product and waste less, it is a very good deal to me. I love being able to get minis and travel sizes and stuff like that. So that's the other reason why I love this. It's a really good mascara, and I can get it into a size that I don't have to worry about wasting it in 3 or 4 months when I have to throw it out. Smells great already, and I'm sure you haven't even gotten halfway started. Almost. Of the remaining 2, one of them I don't know if it's even available anymore. Unfortunately, I fell in love with it and I started looking for it, and I thought I found it, and then when I went back it wasn't there anymore. And that's the BeYu Power Volume Mascara Boosting Effect Mini Edition. I got this as a part of a sample order that I was able to get in on. Love this, love this. Like the Perversion, it's nice and dark and black. I think this is a little thicker on the formula, but it lengthens, it thickens, and it curls your eyelashes a bit too. I am actually wearing it today. This one takes about 3 coats. I do occasionally use the Great Lash to help boost it, but yeah, this is another one. If I can find it again, I will be stocking up on, especially if I can get the mini edition. The next one came in my Ipsy bag a couple months ago, a month or 2 ago, and that's the Doucce Maxlash Volumizer Mascara. It's another one that's thick and dark, and with this one, I think I do need to give it a little bit of help with the Great Lash. All of these have this bristly brush. I don't like the plastic brushes. I really don't. But just like the other ones, it lengthens and it thickens and it gives me a little bit of curl. And this one also takes 3 or more layers to get me to where I like it, but I can get it to where I like it. And I've really enjoyed it. So it's another one. This one I think you can find on Amazon for about $7 or something like that. $10. Something like that. So it's another one that I would like to repurchase at some point when this one runs out. Although I have a shitload of mascara, so God knows. My two favorites that are not eye related are lips. For lips, the first one is this e.l.f. lip oil in Berry Kisses. I'm actually wearing it today. This gives a beautiful shine, a light bit of color. This is actually over the other one that I'm going to tell you about. And it's just a really nice oil. It's like a beautiful gloss. It's a beautiful color, nice shine. It's not sticky. And I have used this a lot this year. And if I run out, I will be getting another one because I really, really, really enjoyed this a lot. The other one I just purchased, and I don't like the formula as much as I do the color. That's the CoverGirl Demi-Matte in the color Infamous. And as you'll see, it's one of my deep purpley berry tones, very close to the lip oil. It doesn't dry down matte, but it does dry down matte enough that I don't have the slide that I like on my lips when I am wearing lipstick. Today I am wearing it over my other favorite, the NYX Big Round in Black Cherry, which I think I mentioned last year was a favorite. So I'm wearing this, then this, then this. So I'm wearing all 3 of these today. This one gives me the nice, smooth, it doesn't dry down like a matte or a demi-matte. This one is a beautiful color. It deepened the color of this one. And yeah, so yeah, those are my favorites for lip colors this year. And now we're going to get into my palettes. Going to start with something that's actually not an official palette. And that is because inside this ColourPop is a brand of highlighters and eye things. So I guess I do have some cheek stuff that I have been using. I've used almost every time I put on makeup since I've gotten it, and that is the Vanessa's Vanity products, which is these 2 here, this one, and these 2. These are just gorgeous. Whoa, don't go away. I love the designs on the pan. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see the designs on the pan, but she has designs pressed in her pans. They're just beautiful. So those are the 3 big ones right there. That's electric. I can't remember the name of the other 2, but they're just beautiful, and I really enjoy them a lot. So I use them on the inner corner. I use them to brush over the middle of my eyeshadow sometimes. They're just gorgeous. Here's her, let's do it this way. And here's the eyeshadows that I got with that set. Went too far the other way. Honestly, just can't recommend them enough. These are just beautiful. She also sent me a couple of loose powders. And this one is in Angel Wings. I use this a lot. And this one is in Lavender Flame. I don't use this nearly as much, but they are both just amazing. Amazing. The Angel Wings I use a lot in the corner of my eye as a inner corner highlight. And here's the Lavender Flame. Haven't used that one nearly as much, but that's very similar to the Supernova that I use from Milk for a highlighter. Honestly, if you get a chance, try Vanessa's Vanity. She's got some amazing stuff to look at. And if you're not sure what you want to buy, she almost always has some sort of a mystery box for $20 to $30. I think the last one she had was $20. The one that I purchased was around $30. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. These are gonna. Like I said, I'm using them almost every day. They're beautiful, beautiful. Oh my goodness. He's being mean to you all. My God. I'd invite them over, but I don't think you want 600 people in our yard.
We don't believe you.
Alrighty, now that we've tortured guys with food,
We don't believe you.
You believe me, right? Tommy wouldn't lie to you, you know that. Moving on to my favorite palettes, my actual favorite palettes from this year. So the first one has actually replaced Urban Decay as my favorite brand. As you all know, or those of you who've been around a while know, I do have a spot on my eye where my eyeshadow likes to disappear. And this brand is the first brand of eyeshadow palettes where that ended up being not as big a problem as it usually is. This was the first palette I got from them, and that's the Violet Voss hashtag palette. This thing is just amazing. These colors are right up my alley, the golds and purples. It's beautiful. I mean, look at these amazing colors. Look at that. It's beautiful, beautiful. The packaging is cardboard, but it's a very sturdy cardboard. All the larger palettes do come with a mirror. They come with this to protect your mirror from your shadows. I haven't had a huge amount of fallout. I haven't had a huge amount of kickback when I've used these. And like I said, it does take care of my problem area. I think some people think they're a little overpriced for these ones that are really good. I don't agree with that. I think these are reasonably priced. They're a little bit less than they're like $9 less, I think, than most of the Urban Decay ones. You get usually more shades, and you get, nowadays, you get a much better quality product. And like I said, it's amazing. And the second one, the second palette that's a love, is a recent love, and it is one of the palettes I just mentioned, and that is the Rainbow palette. I haven't used it as much as I would like, but shortly after I got this, I had an influx of other palettes that I needed to start testing, so I couldn't play around with it as much as I'd want. These colors are just gorgeous. I've had some issues with the blue, and as you can see, there's a little bit of hard pan on there. I'll probably take some tape and pick it up. I have tried to use it as an eyeliner. It actually doesn't work well for that. But again, we're talking some beautiful, beautiful colors. And no kickback, no fallout, it's just amazing. Amazing. I love these. Go down. So there's that one. That's from the Rainbow palette. Beautiful. And they show up gorgeous on the eyes too. So that's really nice. I think most of these colors here are very similar in formula to the hashtag palette. However, the blue, like I said, does not swatch or work as well for me as the others. And I think it's similar in terms of formula to the blue that's in the Concealio palette, which is not as good as the hashtag, in my opinion. If you were looking to try Violet Voss, I highly recommend. I can talk, really. I highly recommend one of these two if you're not afraid of the colors, you know. So the next love for 2018 should not surprise anybody, and that's the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. I do have the Saharan too, and I do have the Afrique on its way in, but this one, for a while there, I was picking it up every day. I think the only reason I'm not using it every day now is it's because off to the side, so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. The colors in here, I love the packaging. I love their whole aesthetic, and their packaging is just beautiful. These colors are gorgeous. The yellow is the only one I have any minor problems with, but I have issues with yellows in general. So far, I've only found about 2 that actually work on me. These are they're amazing, and even if you take into account my skin tone, these are beautiful, beautiful shades. I actually purchased it for the purple. The purple is not nearly as dark as it shows up in the pan when you use it on your eye. It's actually, see, there's the yellow. That's what happens with yellows with me. Even good yellows do that to me. But the purple is, as you can see, the purple is more of a pinky purple, and it's not nearly as deep as in the pan. I find that's how it is on my eyes. Overall, this has been a palette that I've reached for a lot and will probably continue to reach for a lot. It's a Brights palette. It's become one of my favorite palettes that I use frequently, even with it over to the side and out of sight, out of mind. Juvia's Place has really, really impressed me. People were talking about it before I bought it, and I was like, yeah, okay. You know, because they're not considered a high-end brand. They're considered closer to drugstore in prices, kind of in the middle, because these palettes run about $20 or so. And I was like, yeah, okay. Kind of like the way I felt about ColourPop before I tried ColourPop. And no, these blow you away. They really, really do. So I have 4 honorable mentions for last year. The first one is this Pure Midnight Masquerade palette that I got from BoxyCharm. I know a lot of people have said that they had issues with this. The only thing I had trouble with was these highlighter bronzer shades. They just don't really, the highlighter doesn't really highlight the bronzer. I don't know, but the blushes you got to be careful with because they are very, very pigmented. They do end up, if you're not careful, you're going to end up with a really clown face. They do have a bit of a glow to them, a bit of a shimmer, so that's something to watch out for. Some people have complained about the shades. The mirror to me is kind of a pointless thing. But I've not had any issues with the shades in the palette. I don't use the brown much. I do use the others. But right after we got this, I honestly had absolutely no trouble reaching for it. None whatsoever. And I would just reach for it without even thinking. Even after I was done testing it, I was reaching for it. So this is actually a really, really nice palette. I've really enjoyed having it. It's one of the things that BoxyCharm sent that I am really glad that they sent. And so that's my first honorable mention. My next 3 honorable mentions have all come from the Hush app. One is a Bad Habit and the other one is Face Candy. The Bad Habit After Charge, this is well put together. It has a mirror in it. It's very sturdy. It has a lot of fallout. It has a lot of kickback. As you can see, if you look around the edges, you can see a lot of it. But these are beautiful shades that show up fairly well. I've actually already used it several times. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous palette. let's do this like this. Okay, so I need to be on this side. So there. Just some beautiful colors, great shimmer. This is a great support palette. I use it to get, I was using it for a while to get more shine and shimmer. It is a shimmer that's kind of a borderline glitter, which is one of the reasons why I think there's so much fallout with it. So it does a lot of fallout the way glitters do fallout. But it is a beautiful palette, and it was a gift, and I really, really appreciate having received the gift. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. So the next two I haven't used that much, but they're both from Face Candy, and let me tell you something. Face Candy has totally astounded me. These are not expensive palettes, so you would expect that, you know, a $10 palette, a $15 palette with as many shades as they have wouldn't perform nearly as well as, say, you know, even Urban Decay, which is hit or miss on most days now. But these have some amazing colors and some amazing pigmentation. I haven't used them very much. One of them kind of scares me because it's so pigmented, and a lot of the shades are really dark. So for me, it's sort of a challenging palette, and I may end up challenging myself with it next year. But the other one has lots of blues and greens. I'm sure we all remember the April Fool's Tarte palette. Well, this was based on the April Fool's Tarte palette, and that is the Face Candy Atlantis. Again, gorgeous shades, and the pigmentation is astonishing. There is some fallout, especially for the glitter shades. There's a little bit of kickback, especially for the glitter shades, but it is otherwise, it's astonishing. It's an astonishing palette, really. This was my first delve into Face Candy, and just look at that. Look at that. And it works like this on the eyes. So, like I said, it's another honorable mention. It's 12 colors. You can find it on the Hush app. I think you can find it on Face Candy's personal site as well. I think they're starting to sell. Bad Habit just started selling their own stuff on their site, so I'm not sure about Face Candy though. But it is a beautiful palette. Another honorable mention, and the only reason it's an honorable mention is that I have not used it very much, but I love it, and I do want to keep using it. And the last one is an older Face Candy palette, and I honestly wasn't expecting that much when I bought it. I had seen a couple of reviews on it, and it was good, but it just, I don't know. But the whole thing still drew me in, and that is the Wild palette. These palettes are very sturdily made. They're really good. They include mirrors. But look at this. As you can see, there's a real lot of dark colors in there, and just like the Atlantis palette, this has some amazing pigmentation. I have used it a few times. I haven't really owned it long enough to use it a lot. But I really want to use it more. I'm just, seriously, guys. Let me do it this way so I know which way I'm supposed to go. Look at this. So that's from the Wild palette. This one, both of these are actually kind of challenging palettes because the swatches, as you can see, seem kind of powdery, and a couple of them don't seem to work as well. On the eye, however, these have a lot of pigmentation when you put them over an eye primer, and that can be intimidating. And as much as I do dark looks, some of these come up a little too much, even for me. So I have to learn to work with them a little bit more, but it is a beautiful, I mean, just... And this one, too, has a much darker color story than most palettes I get. It's colorful, but it's darker colors. It's, yeah, it's just kind of darker, on the darker end of the bright colors. But again, it's another honorable mention, and another palette I would highly recommend that you can get off the Hush app. So that is it for my favorites for 2018. I'm sure I have other things that I have failed to mention that I've talked about in the past, but a lot of the stuff that I use, like my NYX Hydro Touch Primer and things like that, are stuff that I have been using for a while. Or like there's Total Brands. I really enjoyed the stuff that I have from ColourPop. Their Lippy Primer is actually something that I would have to say is a love, that actually really kind of combined the creamy smoothness of the Bite Lip Primer with the value and product amount of, say, the NYX Lip Primer. The NYX Lip Primer tends to be a bit on the waxy side, so I actually recommend this if you want something that's at a good value. This is like my second or third one of these, and I will probably keep purchasing them because I really enjoy them. I honestly can't believe I forgot this is another ColourPop product, and that is their highlighter in Angel Food. I haven't been using it that much lately. I've been doing other highlighters and stuff, but this is a beautiful rosy kind of highlighter. It is on the subtle end. I don't know if I can really build that up that much, but I do. This is like my favorite highlighter that I've gotten all year. For a while there, that was all I wore, was that one. Anyway, so that's it for today. We are done, and it sounds like dinner is about done, so I need to be getting moving anyway. I hope you like what you've seen, and that if you do, you will subscribe. If you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. And if you're part of my notification squad, oh yes indeed, I must remind you to check your bells. I'm still being knocked off. Sometimes they wait until I watch the video, till I click on the video that they've notified me on, and then all of a sudden the bell isn't rung anymore. Because I've gone to the page and had to look to see if I have to fix it, and then it's fine, and then I go to the video and it's not fine. So double check your bells if you're part of the notification squad. And if you don't want to subscribe, well, that's okay too. Hopefully you'll come back again, and when you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. Love this tea, but it's definitely much better hot. This is not a cold tea. You all have a great evening.